family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A and LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact. Don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, bam! I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. Alright, fam, before we get this episode rolling, just a couple of disclaimers. I do not sell firearms, nor do I promote the sale of firearms or accessories or anything that would constitute a violation of YouTube community guidelines. Any reviews that I do on firearms or accessories are just that. They are for review purposes only. And if I reference the gun manufacturer or the company that happened to supply the product, I am just referencing that for disclosure purposes. All right? Now, fam, look. If you are not a member of the 2A in LA fam club, I do not know what you are doing at this point in time. As a member of the fan club, you receive unreleased content. You will receive content early. You become automatically eligible for all the giveaways that we do in our bi-weekly live streams, fam. Look. I believe I offer some of the best giveaway opportunities on YouTube. So make sure you're a member of the fam club. It's only $2.99 a month. Just click on that join button down below. And if you are interested in any of the 2A in LA merchandise, just hit that QR code in the corner. You see it. You see it right there. That will take you to the 2A in LA channel. Also, you can sign up to participate in a lot of our giveaways there. So make sure you hit that QR code. All right, that's it. Now let's get back into the episode. All right, fam, let's get this episode rolling. So this is one that a lot of people have been asking me to do, particularly a lot of my fam out here in the California market. And I did a video a while back about this as well. A lot of people, and I think the title of the video was why I am not going to buy or likely review one of the Staccato HD series. Look, I was at SHOT Show last year when the HD series was all the buzz, right? And people were fawning over it. I got to shoot it at the SHOT Show range day. I thought the gun shot fine. I thought it was very reminiscent of other Staccatos. I thought obviously the trigger was not quite as good because they're making it drop safe. And obviously it took Glock mags, and some people felt like that was a flex. I personally did not. I like my 2011 magazines for my 2011s, but neither here nor there. So I kind of stated that in the video that I did that I probably was not going to buy one because I already owned a Staccato P, I already owned a Staccato C2, and I already owned a Staccato XC. So there would be a certain amount of redundancy in me buying this pistol. That said, though, even if I didn't own those guns, my kind of takeaway was I think I would rather have a C2 or a P or an XC than something from the HD series, with certain exceptions. And I think this video is really about those exceptions. And I think too that those exceptions constitute a very large slather of potential buyers. So when my friends at 2A Zone hit me up and said, hey, 2A in LA, we want you to review the Staccato HD 4, I said, okay, well, say less. Say less. And so they sent this bad boy out to the channel for a review. Now, I talked about the couple of exceptions. And here's where I think it's powerful. Exception number one. If you are a law enforcement officer and you are required to have a gun that meets certain specifications relative to it being drop safe and relative to it being able to incorporate your kind of historical Glock magazines, wow. This gun and this HD series is a big win for you. It's a big win for you because now all the Glock magazines that you had before can still be used in your HD, and now you have a significantly upgraded firearm if you're running something like a Glock or a P320 or something like that. To be able to put this in your holster on a day in, day out basis to defend your life and the life of others, I think is a significant upgrade. And you know, if you're coming off of a striker fire platform, if you're coming off like a high-end 2011 platform like myself, where you're getting Atlas and Hayes and Rafferty's and Venoms and things like that, then a Staccato trigger to you probably feels like a step down. But if you're coming off a striker fired platform, then this is going to feel phenomenal. It is going to feel amazing, and we'll get into trigger a little bit in a bit when we dive into the review. But if you're a Leo and the new HD series allows you to carry a 2011, then I would definitely be taking this gun into consideration. The second exception, and I think even the bigger play here, is if you are a California resident or a state that, like California, is subject to a handgun roster. Look, to my knowledge, other than the Staccato, I don't think there are any other 2011s on the California handgun roster. And so if you wanted, say, a Staccato C2, right, that retails for about the same as this retails, because it is a non-California handgun roster gun. In California, to pick one up on the secondary market, private party, you're probably going to end up paying somewhere between $4,000 to $5,000 for that Staccato, for that $2,500 Staccato C2. For real? For real? So look, same thing with the Staccato P. You want the XC, that's probably like $6,000 plus, right? And so what I would tell you, and so that's going to price out 90% of the market. Not most of the people in California and other restricted states are not going to want to pay double plus the MSRP for 2011 from just a financial ability perspective. It's going to eliminate almost everyone, right? And so for you to be able to pick up a Staccato that shoots like a Staccato, that comes with a brand reputation relative to reliability for, you know, MSRP, a standard MSRP price, it's a win. I think these guns are going to go and have been going crazy in California, because everybody that was sitting on the sidelines when this gun came out, they were like, yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. So that's why I was perfectly fine with doing a review on this gun. All right, fam, if you've never seen a 2A NLA review, go something like this. 0 to 100. 0 being hot garbage, the worst gun that has ever been made in the history of gun making. I've never had a gun get a 0. 100, the best possible gun ever. The gun with the best possible ergonomics and the best possible weight and the best possible fit and finish. And it's incredibly accurate and it has all the things, and it's also affordable. Never had a gun get 100. Alright, I've had some guns get close, but haven't had a gun get 100 yet, but we can always hold out hope. If you got something kind of 50 to 60, that's a right down the middle gun. It's going to be reliable, going to go bang every time, just doesn't have a lot of feels or thrills. You got something 60 or 70, that gun has a feature or two, maybe it's a trigger or a grip or ergonomics, something about it make it just a hair, one deviation over the norm. If you got something kind of 70 to 80, okay, now you're cooking with a little bit of gas. Now you're cooking with a little bit of gas. You have a gun that has multiple features, that is very accurate, very reliable, and has some very special qualities to it. If you got something like 80 to 89, now we're talking about a best-in-class firearm, especially 85 to 89. And if you got something 90 or above, that's a Grail gun. All right, fam, let's start off with fit and finish. Look, steel slide, steel frame, polymer grip module, polymer trigger shoe. But by polymer grip standards, it's a good grip. And you can tell this gun is kind of geared more for carry. It has a thinner grip module than, say, a C2. And so that part is good. The grip texture is good. This gun is DLC coated. Look, they do a good job. It's heavily sprung, but sprung for reliability. It does come optic ready, and the sight is out in front, so you can still co-witness it. Not like a front-facing optic, if I'm being honest. If I have a choice between the two, than a rear-facing front sight. And so I think that part is great. Look, it is kind of what it is. I think Staccato's reputation precedes it. Their reputation for reliability and customer service precedes it. I am very proud and pleased that they have opted to really come into the state of California in a major way, because they could have just came in and just been very Leo focused, but the fact that they have opened up the 2011 brand and the Staccato brand in the California market is meaningful. Has nothing to do with fit and finish, but I think, again, their reputation precedes them relative to their quality. So for fit and finish, this gun is going to earn a 13 out of a possible 15. All right, fam, next up, reliability. Look, it's a Staccato. I mean, Staccato's run as 2011s go, their reputation precedes them. We ran a lot of different ammo through it. I found the gun to be very, very reliable. We always joke and say Staccato is the Glock of the 2011 industry. Well, if that's the case, then they've got to be very reliable guns. For reliability, we're going to give it a 14 out of a possible 15. All right, fam. Next up, durability. Look, DLC coated, so all that's very well done. Again, I've said I'm not a huge fan of polymer grip modules, although as polymer grip modules go, Staccato tends to do it right. I do think that, you know, we should be at the point where we're getting a metal trigger shoe in it, but all in all, I think the gun is very durable. Staccato, again, their warranty, their reputation is such that you shouldn't really doubt the durability. I've got 3 Staccato guns and I've got thousands of rounds through all of them without a hiccup. Durability, again, we're going to give it a 13 out of a possible 15. All right, fam, next up, trigger. Look. All right, so you can see, fam, the gun is pretty much at the wall. Very little take up, clear defined wall, crisp clean break. Reset, short reset. Look, it is a solid trigger. It's a solid trigger. I'll put the pull weight up there. Again, if you are accustomed to things like Atlas triggers and Infinity triggers and Red Dirt triggers and things of that nature, this trigger is going to feel heavy to you. But if you're coming from a striker fired world or most hammer fired worlds, kind of non-2011 hammer fired gun, then you're going to feel like, wow, this trigger's awesome. So to me, the trigger is solid, but not great. For trigger, we're going to give it an 11 out of a possible 15. All right, fam, next up, accuracy. Look, bull barrel gun, 4-inch bull barrel. Did a little barrel accuracy testing from about 15 yards, unassisted. I'll put that up there so you can check out the grouping. It's an accurate gun. That has been my experience with pretty much every Staccato that I've owned. Again, they just do a very good job. You know, like, there is nothing, they don't do anything spectacular. They just do everything good. They just do everything good. And sometimes you get a gun where they do some things great, exceptional, awesome, but then they suck at other things. I would rather just have a gun, if that's my option, I would just rather have a gun that's good at everything. To be honest with you, and that's what Staccato does. They did a good job with accuracy, shootability of the gun. Look, it's 4 inches, it's non-ported, it's non-compensated, it's a little snappy compared to what I'm accustomed to shooting these days. But again, if you're coming from a striker fired space or a non-ported, non-compensated base, you're going to think that this gun is right in line. It is certainly, recoil is certainly manageable. The grip texture on this grip, and we'll get to that in a minute in ergonomics, allows you to keep a good hold on the gun even at higher rates of speed. So look, accuracy, we're going to give it an 8 out of a possible 10. All right, fam, next up, ergonomics. So 4-inch barrel gun. The grip texture on this gun is really, really well done. Look, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of polymer grips, but if I were carrying a gun for duty and weight, something that's going to be on my hip all day, every day, so weight becomes more of a consideration. Being able to have a little flex and getting the tighter purchase on that grip, I think it's good. I think the gun is well balanced. I think Staccato did a better than solid job on putting this gun together, and they should, because they've been building now quality 2011s for a very, very long time. Look, so ergonomics, we're going to give it an 8 out of a possible 10. These next two categories we're going to put together: aftermarket support and maintenance and upkeep. Look, 2011, break it down. Staccato, again, very, very reliable guns. Break them down once every 1,000 to 2,000 rounds. Keep them oiled. You're going to be all good. Aftermarket support, ton of it. Ton of it. What do you need? You want porting. You want compensators. You want upgraded trigger, upgraded grip module, upgraded mags. What do you want? It is out there for you. So for aftermarket support and maintenance and upkeep, we're going to give this gun a 4 out of 5 in both categories. All right, fam. Next up, affordability. Look, like I said, to me, this is where this gun shines, because if you're a law enforcement officer or you are a California citizen, one of the things that's been holding you back is the ability to be able to either run the gun from a technical perspective due to your department's compliance requirements, and from a cost perspective if you are John Doe citizen. I think that this price, and I'll put the MSRP up there, but to be able to acquire a 2011 in the state of California at this price point makes all the sense in the world. From a law enforcement perspective, makes all the sense in the world. And if I wanted a gun to protect my life, and my choice were kind of a standard Glock or a P320 or a Staccato, I'm choosing the Staccato every day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sunday, right? Affordability, this bad boy gets a 4 out of a possible 5. Last but not least, is Instagram gonna go crazy? Are your boys gonna be like, damn? I don't want to make it seem like, fam, like this is just the end all be all, the flexiest flex. No, I think there are a lot of guns out there that are more flexy. But what I would say about Staccato is similar to Glock. We just said how Staccato is the Glock of the 2011 space. There's so much you can do to these guns to make them aesthetically amazing. Amazing. So I would say this: if you're one of those people who was debating about 4,000, okay, well pick up this gun, put about 1,000 into it, put some color into it, upgrade the grip module, upgrade the trigger, get it ported, and now all of a sudden you got a highly flex gun. But as you see it here, for flex, we're going to give it a 2 out of a possible 5. Alright fam, when you add all of that up, you get an 81 out of a possible 100. I told you when you get into the 80s, we're starting to talk about best in class guns. Now I think that's much more apparent when you're at 85 to 89, but if you've got a gun that's scoring kind of 80 to 84, that is a rock solid gun. That gun has a ton of features and shootability that warrant the score. And if you look at most of my out of the box Staccato scores, whether it was the C2 or the P or the XC, those guns kind of scored between like 81 and 84. And so it doesn't surprise me that the HD finds itself right in that range. But look, you know how your boy gets down. Stop playing. Stop playing. We just do not do a review and leave well enough alone. No. We gotta run this gun and do at least one comparison, right? So we are going to take the Staccato HD 4 and we are going to put it up against your boy's Staccato C2, which has a 3.9 inch barrel. Now this is not going to be a fair fight, but I just want to give you guys a couple of things to think about, right? Like, number one, we'll talk about the differences between the two guns because I think some of those things are significant. This gun is significantly upgraded. Monsoon Tactical went in and chunk ported it for me and did the dope Cerakote. Then my boy Skip came along and pinned the grip safety, did an Atlas trigger for me, recoil reduction. So this gun is a crazy shooter. I want to say, as you see it here, the gun scored like an 87. But I think it's important. I think this comparison still makes a lot of sense. So you could see what's capable of being done with this gun by looking at this one. And also kind of the fundamental difference. If you're deciding, if you're in a state that will allow you to get either a C2 or a P4, like what are the fundamental differences? So we're going to do that in a video coming soon. Alright fam, that's it for this episode. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.